Okay. Now let me go on my page and make sure we're live, which I know we are, but I always want to make sure. And then too, I go on my page because if people have questions, I'm going to use my phone. Yep, here we are. We are live. Okay, great, great. Now let me go back. Oh, here we go. Okay. And I'm going to hit, let's see. Oops. Okay, now I'm recording. Okay, so we are live. I have my phone for people that want to ask questions. I have to, hold on, let me click in here. There we go. And then bring the volume down because it'll echo. Okay, all right, guys. Happy Thursday evening. I'm so glad you guys are joining us. I know many of you did tell me that you don't know if you're going to join because you're watching the DNC. But you can always go back and watch the DNC. So I hope you're on tonight to hear Deb's story. An amazing story, guys. I don't think I've interviewed anyone that is cancer free. So I'm like super excited to hear about her story and her journey. So also don't forget, if you have questions for Deb, put them in the comments. And I do have my phone. So whatever you ask, I'll see, and then I'll share them with Deb, and then Deb will answer them for you. So if you have any questions throughout the interview, put them in the comments, okay? So this is Deb, guys, from the great state of Illinois, my neighboring state, because I have family out there. She lives very close to family, my husband's family member. What a small world. So she lives very close to Steve's family in Illinois. Welcome, Deb. Thank you for taking the time to do this interview.
Oh, thank you for inviting me to interview.
Oh, of course, sweetheart, of course. So a little bit about Deb, and she's going to take it from there, and she's going to touch on some very important topics. She was diagnosed April of 2023. So she just completed a year living with lung cancer. Well, no, let me take that back. She's cancer free. I'm living with lung cancer. But yeah, so completed a year from diagnosis. That's the word. Um, Stage one, and no mutation.
No.
Okay. So they caught it early, thank goodness. And she's gonna talk about how they caught it and what she went through and all that stuff. And she's cancer free, guys. So if you're at home watching, give her a little clap. So this is Deb. Deb, take it away. Share
Oh,
your story.
well, it was in April of 23 that I had a diagnostic CT, chest CT. And how that even came about is I have another lung condition, and my provider wants me to have a yearly CAT scan. And in this particular instance, I had even let that go over a year. And I was in my provider's office, and she said, "Don't you think that you're overdue for that? Don't you think you need to get that done?" And I said, "Yes, you're right." And then went home and let it go for another 4 weeks. And uh, when I had the chest CT, she called me, which is unusual because usually, they post it on your page in my chart or whatever app you
Right.
use. And she actually called me, and she told me that there was a finding on my chest CT and that it looked like lung cancer. So she immediately referred me to the oncology department at, and I don't know if it's okay for me to say
Yeah.
this,
Yes.
Our Health. And they made all arrangements from there. They did not have a cardiothoracic surgeon at the time to do a thoracotomy. So they referred me to a surgeon in St. Louis. And
Okay.
I'm telling you, I mean, between Carl and the Jewish hospital there in St. Louis, they just took it out of my hands and managed it all. They scheduled me to have a PET scan, which thank God was negative, except for my, finding in my lung.
Mhm.
And this area in my lung, it was my right upper lung. So they determined that it was stage A1A, and
Okay.
they determined that they could treat that with a thoracotomy, and that most likely no other treatment would be required. No chemo, no radiation, nothing like that. So I went to Barnes Hospital, and is Barnes Jewish Hospital, in May, and Dr. Kozar performed my surgery there. We drove up there, and that was the same day I had surgery. It seemed like they just took me right in and took care of it. And I was in the hospital, I think, another 48 hours after that, which it's good to be there.
Yes, of course.
It's good to get home, but it's good to be there. And
Yes.
I won't kid you, it was just a scary thing for me. You think of them removing a whole lobe of your lung. Your right lung, has 3 lobes, and your left lung has 2 lobes. So now I'm 2 and 2. But it's just a little unnerving to think that you're going to be missing a lobe of your lung, and you just wonder, how will that affect my breathing? And the surgeon kept trying to reassure me that it would be, I might have a 10 to 15% loss of my breathing capacity. He said most people don't even notice it. And I got to say, he was right. I was so nervous about that. And he was right. I've never noticed a difference since then.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, when they removed it and part of your lobe, um, did they send it for biomarker testing?
Yeah.
Because you told me there was no mutation. Okay, talk
Yes.
about that.
Well, I can't really remember a lot about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't. I
Okay,
don't.
it's okay.
I just remember, them talking about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was all a blur, and even a
Right.
year later, I try to think back on certain details, and they're a little foggy to me.
Okay. No, I
Think
understand.
rest.
They did send it for the biomarker testing, and that's how you found out that you had no mutations.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, guys out there, if you know of someone that just diagnosed with lung cancer and they're gonna do the same thing they did to Deb, remove a lobe or whatever, upper, bottom, whatever. Mine was my upper lobe? I don't even remember. But anyways, yes, it can be sent for biomarker testing. Make sure you tell them that. If you're listening and you've just been diagnosed and that's the procedure you're gonna have, make sure your oncologist sends it for biomarker testing. It is very, very important. And the reason I say this is because there's a few gals, especially one here in the Chicago area. She lives in the suburbs of Chicago. She was diagnosed many years ago, caught it early. Back then, they didn't have the biomarker testing. Um, she's like a little under 18 years, if I'm not mistaken. Um, it came back after so many years. They saw a little nodule. They did the same thing like Deb, took it out. They tested, and she's KRAS. I think it's KRAS. I hope I'm saying that right. I mean, I hope I'm saying the right one. KRAS. If I yeah, she is KRAS. It's KRAS. So they removed that one. That's how she found out. Again, she's clear. And again, it came back. So she's gonna have another surgery to have it removed. So I think it was sometime this week. I have to call her, make sure. But yes, I'm just sharing that with you because there is a possibility. I hope and pray that it never happens to Deb. But I'm glad that they did remove it, and it was sent for biomarker testing and no mutation. That's great. And it is non-small cell, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. And
But how they determine your course of treatment was that uh, at the Carl Hospital,
mhm,
they have a board of oncologists,
mhm.
and they present your case. Your doctor presents your case, and then they confer on what is the best course of action to take and what's consistent with current treatment guidelines.
Okay.
And that's how they map out, you know, what what your treatment will be.
Okay. Yes. Yes, that is true. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I know when we spoke briefly yesterday, we talked about certain things that really matters to you. And I know one of them you really stressed out was support.
Mhm.
Um, can you can you share with us how was your support system?
Yes. Well, I will tell you, I think I mentioned this yesterday, but this actually, as ludicrous as it sounds, it was actually a good experience for me. Everything went smoothly. I had the ultimate faith in my oncologist and my surgeon, and they were wonderful. But it also really made a big impression on me how much I was loved and cared about. People were just wonderful to me. They bought in meals and they sent cards and calls and visits, and it was just wonderful, and it was very touching to me, and the support meant a lot,
Yes.
to be going through that and know that you've got all the
Exactly.
people behind you,
Yeah. And it's a great feeling. You don't feel alone.
Yes. Now I did afterwards I was nervous wreck thinking about it coming back. Um I guess there is like a 35% chance that it can come back. I'm sure that varies on
Right.
what and everything, but that kind of unnerved me because I didn't feel real impressed with those numbers.
Yeah.
And I had started going to a cancer support group, but I had to quit going because it really made me, people were sick, people were real sick, and it made me, for one thing, I felt guilty because I wasn't that sick. And
Hmm.
I also kept thinking, what if it comes back? What if and I was just kind of living with that. I couldn't let that go. And
Yeah.
especially as long as I was going to the support group, I couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So I had to
And
ban that.
yeah. You know, we do need support groups. Yes. I know you and I met in one of the lung cancer support groups, and yes, and I'm on Elks and other ones, and yes, it's wonderful, but sometimes it could be a little depressing. And
Mhm.
I tell people if you start feeling like that, like like you, Deb, like you're saying in these support groups, you were feeling a certain kind of way, it's okay to take a break and then go back because you need to gather yourself,
Yes.
gather your thoughts, gather yourself. You're still going through the process. And even though you're cancer free, that's
Hmm.
always going to be in the back of your head. It's going
Oh,
to come
yeah.
back. But Deb, you know what? 10 years. And then some of my Chicago people that 20 years, I think Terry's 20, Bobby's, I think 18, Jill's 15 or more. I don't know. But you know what? We just said, just okay, we live with it. We all have it. Well, no, Terry's cancer free as well. Because they removed her lung. But we're just like, and she thinks about it too. And we're just like, you know what? We're just going to live the moment and not worry about it. So I know it's hard, but take it from us. We call ourselves the grandmas or Terry likes to call us the dinosaurs. I say grandma. It's like the grandma because I'm a grandma. So let's go with grandma, the grandma of the lung cancer group, and just take it from us. Just yeah, it's always gonna be there, but don't dwell on it. Just live your life. go for your, I don't know if you go, if you're going to be going every 6 months or every year for your CT scans, go live life, enjoy it. And when you do go to support groups and it gets a little depressing or a little overwhelming, take a break. It's okay to take a break, step back, take a break, and then come back to it. And that's what I did when I did these interviews. It got overwhelming, and a lot of them that a lot of the other wonderful people that I've met living with lung cancer unfortunately passed away. So it got to me, and I had to take a break. I had to take a step back, and then it's like everyone's like, "You got to do it again because there's new people. They got to hear this." I'm like, okay. So I came back and I'm okay now. I'm actually okay. And I'm actually excited and happy to do this. But yes, and then and also for you guys out there that I know I've heard people say like, oh, well, I don't want to be a burden or I don't want to bother. You're not a burden, you're not bothering anyone. If they're calling you, coming to your house like they did for Deb, texting you and saying, what can I do for you? Take advantage of it.
Yes.
I was kind of like that. I was kind of like some of you guys. I wasn't like Deb, like, okay, you know, I guess in the Latino, the Hispanic culture, we're kind of more like, oh no, I got this, I could do it. I don't want to bother anyone. No. And I had to learn to let that go and say, like one of my good friends, like, what can I do? I said, I need to sweep and I feel good because I was done with chemo, but it was the after effects. So she came and
Mm-hmm.
swept my whole house. She was, what else you want me to
That's
do? She washed dishes. She
nice.
she cleaned when I
People
was
want to
tired.
help.
Yes,
They
yes,
want to help.
yes. So if they want to bring, are you hungry? Don't say no, say yeah, because guess what? You're gonna eat it later. So yeah, sure, bring me something, whatever your heart's desire. So what I'm telling you guys, be like Debbie, don't be like me. Be like Debbie and take all the offers. And even
Mhm.
even when I had progression for the third time, people reached out to me and all I did was cry because I'm like, I don't want nothing. But you know what? They're like, do you want to go out? I should have said yeah. I said, yeah, let's go here. Because I would have got free lunch, free dinner, coffee. But again, it's I guess the culture we're raised, but I'm learning to be like, okay, yes, take me out. I'm sad, I'm depressed. Cheer me up. I have
Yeah.
friends like, you want to do a shot? I don't do shots anymore, but at that time I probably would have. So take advice and my advice if anyone offers any help, even if you're 5 years out and they're like, hey, are you okay? And you say, no, I'm feeling a little down, or I'm just whatever, and they say, hey, let's go out, you want to do, say yes, get your ass out the house and go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And um so Lucy, oh, it's my friend Lucy, she goes, take one day at a time. Yes, Lucy, one day
Yeah.
at a time. And my brother Jeff, he says, just live. And he said, absolutely, of course, just live. And Jeff agrees with me. Jeff is a lung cancer brother from California, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. So guys, just hey, they want to take you out for lunch, go. For coffee, tea, whatever you guys go. Even for a drink, a cocktail, why not go?
Hmm.
Um, that's still some way, they're supporting you somewhere, they're there for you. And trust me, living with lung cancer, not knowing when I go every 4 months if I'm gonna have progression or something's gonna pop up, that feels great, that feels good that someone's there for me. So yeah.
I go
So
every 6 months, and I
okay,
tried to get them to go every 4 months. My insurance wouldn't agree to that.
of course.
And so I've had to reconcile with that every 6 months. I couldn't persuade anybody,
Yeah,
hard as I tried. But
yeah, but at least
I'm
in 6 months and they still could catch it early. Excuse
mhm.
me. So yeah, I mean, at least you're going. Like I said, I used to go every 3 months, Deb, and now they push mine to every 4 months. So I was kind of happy.
Yeah.
And I think my MRI too, it was no, I think that one's still every 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. That one's still every 3 months. So yeah, so and also we talked about you wanted to talk about your medical team.
Yes.
So
Uh,
tell us about that.
well, and I kind of touched on that when I was saying that my oncologist
Mhm.
took it to the um, cancer board, is what they
Oh,
call
that's
it.
right. Okay.
And then they determine a course of treatment and they make the
Right.
referrals. And then you're assigned a nurse who
Yes.
follows you from beginning through treatment, through all the way
Yes.
through. And that
Yes.
one person meant an awful lot to me
Yes.
because the ball wasn't going to get dropped in any way. She was always available to me if I
Yeah.
called with a question. It's not like sometime with doctors, how you wait.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that at all. She was right back with me and giving me the information I wanted. I wish everybody would have that experience.
Yes. I know. Yes. And for all you nurses out there, thank you, especially nurses that work
Hmm.
with oncologists and how you are with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because I have a great team and a great nurse as well at the University of Chicago Medical Center. So I understand. And if you don't have a good medical team or if you're not happy, it's okay to go look for another team, another
Hmm.
oncologist. It's
Hmm.
okay. You don't have to stay with someone you're not happy with, you're not comfortable with. It's okay to leave because I know I did. So it's okay. So thank you for sharing that. And I know you did share with me that you were a former smoker. And you know what? I don't think I've interviewed anyone that smoked either. Then again, I can't remember. It's like over 6 years ago. So share with us that part of your life.
Yes, yes. I had been a heavy smoker. I had quit about 5 years before I was diagnosed,
Okay.
but I think it was too little too late. I should have quit
Mhm.
years and years ago and wish that I had of, but I have no excuse
Mhm.
other than just, life. If you're a smoker and life moves so fast and you
Yeah.
can be under great stress, which is no excuse to smoke, but that's the excuse I used.
Yes. And I know we talked about a lot of people I feel ashamed about it. And
Hmm.
I always tell people, no, don't be ashamed. Don't be
Hmm.
ashamed. This is how I see it. I remember growing up, everyone smoked, and it was in no one was ashamed of it, and no one put no one down for smoking.
Hmm.
Growing up, let me see, I was born, yeah. I was a little girl in the 70s. So by the time I got to like junior high, would be considered sixth, seventh grade, I was already in the 80s. So I'm an 80s kid. And
Hmm.
everyone smoked. Everyone in the mama smoked. I mean, on the airplane, everywhere I went. I mean, did I hate it? Yeah, because it's like, God, I'm going on a trip with my mom or my dad, and I get off the plane, I stink like, but I'm a teenager. I'm going to Puerto Rico, or I'm going to Mexico, or my mom's family. I'll move to Massachusetts area, so I would go to the Boston area a lot when I was younger. And every Christmas, I would go to Puerto Rico with my mom to celebrate the holidays there because my mom was from the island. And then every summer, I would go to Mexico with my dad. And as soon as I got out of school, I jumped on, like the next day, I literally jumped on a plane with my dad, or sometimes we would not drive down there. He would make me get on these damn buses. I used to be so mad. And then as I got older, I told him, I'm not getting on a bus. We're flying. Buy us an airline ticket. And I would spend my summers in Mexico and then come home just in time for school. And of course, everywhere is smoking, smoking. And you're used to it, but it was back then, no one was shamed. No one told you, oh wow, like now. Like when I tell people, oh, I have lung cancer. I mean, I literally, Deb, had people tell me, oh, well, honey, no one told you to smoke. Oh, honey, with that self-inflicted, it's your fault. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to back then when it was acceptable? Everyone smoking, no one gave a crap. And
Do
then
you know
now,
Fannie Mae used to sell chocolate cigarettes?
oh God, I
They
don't remember
came
that.
in a little case. They were wrapped in chocolate cigarettes. My mother used to
Okay.
buy them
Yeah,
for me all the time.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like, and then now it's like they make you feel like crap. And it's like, and I think too, that's why a lot of people that are smokers or used to smoke and have lung cancer don't want to share the story or don't want to talk about it because they feel they're being judged. And no, 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 that's got to stop.
Yeah,
We didn't have that back in the 70s, 80s, not even in the, no, it's in the 90s when those commercials. And I think that's what started it all, was in the 90s. And then
I
now it
agree.
is what it is today. But no, we got to go back to the way it was 60s, 70s. I was born in the 60s, but 70s and 80s, even 60s. No one shamed anyone. It was okay, it was acceptable.
And
And
people
it's
have
not,
all kinds of vices, you
yes,
know, all kinds of vices. Smoking's just one of them.
yes, exactly. And we talked about that. I mean,
Yeah.
I could easily, tell someone, wow, eating a lot of sugar, a lot of sweets is not good for you, and you're overweight. So, we could easily shame someone who's obese,
Mm-hmm.
for eating unhealthy, but we don't do that. So why
Mm-hmm.
would they shame someone because they had a smoking history, or they still smoke? Why? Like what did when Governor Walsh was in the DNC, was it yesterday? And he
Mm-hmm.
said, mind your damn business. Mind your damn business.
Mm-hmm.
So Betty Joe over there wants to smoke, and Mr. Carlos Hernandez over there wants to smoke a pipe, and Mr. whatever over here wants to. Who cares? It's their life, it's their business. Stop
Mm-hmm.
shaming people, stop judging people. And
Mm-hmm.
like Governor Wall says, mind your damn business. So I'm so glad that you came on tonight and you shared your story, uh cancer free, being stage 1, and your smoking history. I really am, because I want so many people to see this and know that it's okay. So what
Mm-hmm.
if you smoked? Who cares? There's people that do stuff they shouldn't be doing, like
Mm-hmm.
drugs and like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you call, like, sex addicts? I forgot, there's a name for it. It's okay. No one's perfect, and no one is going to be perfect.
That's right.
And but just because you smoked doesn't mean you deserve any more, any less, because me, that I didn't smoke. Now, did I try it when I was young? Of course. What kid didn't try smoking when you're growing up, a teenager, of course, who didn't try it?
Yeah.
So I can't say that I was a former smoker, because I wasn't. I didn't smoke. I just tried it when you're young, a teenager with your friends. Ooh, cigarettes, let's try it. And you
Yeah.
smoke it. That was it. That was it. But
Mm-hmm.
so I'm no better than you because I didn't smoke, and you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people, we need to stop that and change your vocabulary, change how you speak to someone.
Yeah.
And let's just be kind, you
People
know.
are very ready to condemn others, to
Yes.
shame others.
Yes. Yes. God, yes. And that needs to stop. We need to break that. We need to break it now. It's not, it's not nice. Be kind. I've always
Yeah.
said to be kind, have compassion, and have empathy.
Yeah.
Because we all have a story, and your story is different than mine. And your story might not be about lung cancer. It could be about another cancer. It could be about
Mm-hmm.
something else.
Yeah.
I have lots of stories. And right now, the main one that I am learning about, and I'm gonna start advocating, is for suicide prevention. And
Mm-hmm.
that hit close to home. My youngest daughter, you remember, Deb, because I had messaged you, Deb. I'm canceling all the right now because and you had saw on Facebook what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But my 23-year-old, well, she's 23 now. At the time, she was 22, attempted. So that's something that it took me, and I'm still dealing with it. So we all have a story to share. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
so quick to shame someone, to judge someone, and to damn someone, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what that person is going through.
Mm-hmm.
I look well. Deb looks well. She's cancer free. I look well, and I'm living with lung cancer. I take pills every day. Just because we look well doesn't mean that, maybe physically, mentally, and emotionally, we're not well. I know I'm not.
Yeah.
Mentally, because of my daughter's situation. Physically, because of the side effects of alectinib, the muscle aches. Emotionally, because I'm dealing with lung cancer and my daughter's situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a smile on my face, just like you put a smile on your face, and you go and but you're dealing with, you could be dealing with, oh my God, is it going to come back? Is it going to come back? You're dealing with fear and anxiety. I'm dealing with something else, but
Mhm,
you never know what someone is going through. So just be kind to them. You don't have to
mhm.
be nasty with them and judge them. I've always
And
said
that's not hard. It's not hard to be kind.
it's not, you're right. It's absolutely not hard. So
I don't know
let's
why
practice
it's,
something.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And you were saying, Deb, that you don't know why what?
I don't know why people don't go to that naturally to be kind, why they aren't, don't gravitate that way naturally.
Right.
But so often it seems like they don't.
I know. I know. And it's sad. It is. It really is. And there's times that I know I have bad days. I'm sure you have bad days. Um, and I'm guilty. I could lash. It puts me in a bad mood. I don't want to, I could lash at a family member or even a friend, or I could be nasty. But and then I realized, I'm like, okay, that's not, you're not being kind. And just because you're going through something, what gives me the right to lash out at a family member or a friend or a total stranger because I'm having a bad day? So I have to remind myself. It's
Mhm.
if everyone could take a step back and take a deep breath and remind themselves, okay, Juanita, you got bad news, but it's not Joe's fault over there, or Mary's fault over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we all have to take a step back and realize, and if someone is angry with you, or they start, like, let's say at a grocery store line, and have some compassion, because you don't know what that person could have just lost their husband or a child, or could have just got fired or lost their job, or they have to file bankruptcy because of this damn inflation, or we don't know what someone is going through. And so
Hmm.
you know, even if they're screaming and yelling at you, maybe they just got diagnosed with lung cancer, or some type of pancreatic cancer, or some type of cancer, and they gave that person, oh well, maybe you'll make it to 2 years. I'll say within a year,
Yeah.
like they told me 18 months. We don't know. Let's show them compassion.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I know it's hard. Some people lash out. I know. I'm guilty of that. But let's show them compassion. Like, okay, she's going through something. She could have had a miscarriage. We don't know. We don't know that person. Maybe they had such a bad
Yeah.
life that they're the way they are. We don't know. And all you
I
could
heard
do is,
had a fella tell me the other day that he didn't, I forget how we even got on the subject, but he was saying he didn't think people should be insured if they have some illness that they've caused themselves. In other words, he brought up diabetics. He
uh-huh.
brought up lung cancer for smokers. He brought, and I could just tell that made him feel pretty superior, you
Mhm.
know. Um, which I think is what's behind that type of behavior a lot of times is somebody's just trying to pump themselves up a little bit.
Yes.
And if they're not in your shoes or her shoes or their neighbor's shoes, then they're just a little better, you
Right.
know.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I agree. I totally agree. And we'll never know until we walk in those shoes. But even though if we might never walk in those shoes, if you have kindness in your heart, and you have compassion and empathy, you're
Mhm.
always gonna, try and help someone. Like, I don't understand, but well, how can I help you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those that don't, well, they need a lot of work.
They need a lot of prayer
Yeah.
themselves, don't
Yeah, that's
they?
what my friend Lucy said. She said people should go back to praying for each other. Yes. And Jeff said, just be kind to one another. Exactly. That's all I've been saying. That's all I've been saying. Oh my God, I'm having a hot flash. Yeah, and those started coming back. They
So
came.
how
Yeah, look at
horrible.
me. Woo. Oh my God. When after chemo, that's when mine started, because they told me chemo's gonna bring it on. I'm like, oh, great. Oh my God, it was horrible. Then it went away. I didn't have it. And then slowly I would have a hot flash here and there. Not bad. But this year, oh my God, I want to say last year and this year, I'm bad like every so often that I sleep with, I have the air on and I sleep with the fan because it's like I get hot. So yeah, I'm fanning myself, but
What you
oh, well,
gotta do to survive.
yes,
You
yeah.
know, I just remembered something else
Okay, go
that
ahead.
I did when we were talking about support. But when I was first diagnosed, I told everyone.
Mhm.
I told people I haven't seen in 20 years. I called them and told them. Um, I don't know what that was quite about me, but I had a need to tell people. And every time I told someone, I felt just a little lighter.
Okay.
And that was when I was first diagnosed. So I'm not shy, I'm not backwards, I'm not self-effacing or anything. I'm like, I'm sick. And you know, I need you to know this.
Yes. Well, that's great that you told people. There's a lot of people that won't. They keep it hush hush. They don't
Mhm.
want anyone to know. And I know that's big in my culture, in the Hispanic, the Latino culture. Is like, shh, don't say nothing that you have cancer. I'm like, why not? I think I kind of broke that here where I live because I shared it on Facebook. And then when I was going through my journey, my husband did video blogs. He recorded me talking, everything, going through chemo, everything. And I think I broke that what here where I live. And then so then I guess I kind of encourage, I'm considered first generation because
Mhm.
my parents weren't born and raised in this country. So I'm first generation. So first generation, even second, I think I kind of like broke that. And I hope that I encourage them to share whatever it is that they might going through. And I noticed that with some other people that, yeah, and it's like, we can't do that. Everyone's different. um but we need to get our story out there. We need to share our story,
Mhm.
because it matters.
Yeah,
It really does. And I'm glad that you called friends and family and anyone you thought of, and you let them know. And if
I
it made
did.
you feel better each
Mhm.
time, that's exactly what you needed.
Yeah,
For some
and
reason,
it did.
yeah, for some reason, Jeff said, keep telling your story. It will save lives. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will, Jeff. It'll save someone, even if you save one life. Yes, it will. But yeah, for you, that was some type of, maybe emotionally and mental, like, what's the word I'm trying to use? I went blank. Like not support, but maybe like therapy. Like you needed to
Yeah,
get it out. You need,
I I needed to tell people. I needed to
yes,
talk about it, and
yes,
like I said, I just needed to tell people.
yeah. And that's good because that one person that you told that maybe you didn't speak in 20 years or 15 years or something, and you told that person, now I feel like you planted that seed because that person probably didn't even know about lung cancer, and now they're aware of lung cancer. So God
Yeah,
forbid something, a family member or a neighbor, a close friend or something,
yeah,
they'll remember, you know what, Deb, let me call Deb. She can help. And that's how it is.
yeah.
They'll remember.
And I would help. I would
Yes.
be there.
Of course, yes. Of course. I know I am for a lot of people. I have people that call me that have other types of cancers, and I try to help them the best way that I can. I Google their information. I tell them if they're at a local hospital here that doesn't specialize. I always tell them you need to go to a teaching hospital. So I try to get them, I try to find them a good doctor, or I should say good oncologist that specializes in their cancer, in one of the teaching hospitals here in Chicago. I say go there. I said
M-
it's great and you're gonna get, good care. So yeah. Um, like Jeff says, share your story, tell your story, because you never know. You never know. They'll remember. And God forbid
mhm.
they need your help, they'll call you. And
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Helping
yes.
each other out, supporting each other, and being there for each other. Um, Deborah said, praying that you both have a very long life. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. Yeah, with grandbaby number 3 coming, I'm not going nowhere. I'm here to stay for a
That's
long
right.
time. Yeah, so thank you, Deborah. That was so sweet of you. And I know Debbie's gonna be here a lot longer too. Yes, she is. We both are.
I
Okay.
certainly plan on it.
Yes, yes, we both plan on it. Is there anything else that you think that you forgot that you want to share? And if not, um, what is what is one advice or one in or not just say one, but what advice would you give someone that's going through lung cancer, or some type of encouraging words or encouragement that you would give not only for our fellow brothers and sisters that are dealing with lung cancer, but for anyone that might be dealing with what life throws at us?
I would just say to, if you don't have a lot of support forthcoming, go out and fish for it. Get all the support. People want to help if they know.
Yes,
And sometimes it's just therapeutic to talk about it or to say the words out loud. And it, like I said, it's important.
yes,
It's important to do, get the support for yourself. Don't be backward. Don't be too brave. You don't have to be brave.
right. Great. That's perfect advice. I love it. I love it. You there you go, guys. You heard it from Deb. Okay, so if any of you guys have any questions, put them in the comments now. If not, then this concludes our Facebook Live interview with Deb from the great state of Illinois, my neighboring state. Love Illinois. I think I like it better than Indiana. There's a lot more things to do in Illinois than in Indiana.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Even in a small town like Deb's, and in a
Yeah.
small town that my husband's cousins live at, there's always something to do. It's just so much fun to
Yeah.
go and visit the family out that way. Um, let's see, Lucy said you can scream, cry, or whatever you need to do. Exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And trust me, I do it. I'm pretty sure Debbie has days that she
Mm-hmm.
does it. And Jeff said, good job, Deb, and thank you for telling your story. That was Jeff from California.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Well, Deb, thank you again. I totally appreciate it. I am so grateful. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for hitting some great topics about support, your medical team and sharing your smoking history. I do appreciate it. And we just got to break that stigma of shaming, people and judging people because they smoke or they used to smoke. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Guys, next week, oh God, who am I interviewing next week? Before I forget and before I leave, let me look at my calendar. Um, wait, next week, the 29th, I am interviewing Michelle. Okay, I'm gonna mispronounce her name. Michelle Forzano Bensanti. I'm assuming she's Italian. That sounds Italian. So Michelle Bensanti, I'll be interviewing her next Thursday at 7 p.m. So make sure you guys tune in every Thursday at 7 Central Time. So that's 5, 6, 7, and 8. I will let you know when I'm not going to do any live in October. There's going to be 2 weeks that I won't do live. I'll be in Italy celebrating my 10 years. So, yeah, but I will let you guys know. And if any of you guys out there was just diagnosed with lung cancer, been living with lung cancer for a couple years, a few years, or 10 plus years, and you want to share your story, please let me know. I do try to reach out to a lot of people and I do post it in our lung cancer groups. But I'm out positive, so I'm in those groups. I'm not in a KRAS group or EGFR group or in a red group or a ROS1 group. I'm not in that. So I'm hoping that some of you guys are watching this because I would love to interview other people living with lung cancer that has another mutation. I need to, I would love to interview small cell lung cancer. I haven't interviewed anyone that has small cell, and that's one that I really want to do. And if you know of anyone, please shoot on my way, reach out to me. and let's get this done. Oh, and one last thing before I leave. I am on TikTok. I love TikTok. And I've been wanting to do an interview about lung cancer live on TikTok. I could go live now. I got enough followers to go live. So if anyone wants to do it, let me know, please, because I'm wanting to do that too. Okay. Again, Debbie, thank you. Thank you guys for
Thank you.
watching. Have a good evening. And now you have time, if you're watching DNC, you have time to go back and watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And I'm
Goodbye.
going to go back and watch it. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.